I only write tracks for Steve Swift reviews. He punched me twice in the face and asked for a duel. The pugilistic prophet with newbies diagnostics, like Scroobius Pip but less toxic. The UK comet shooting stars never lost it. It's 2025 and the internet still dies. Guys are chasing algorithms like a crack pipe high. Everybody based.
Unbelievable stuff. It's the beginning of the new year, Steve. It's 2026. We had our first outing of boxing happened, and it was a pretty much an all-female outing with a couple of exceptions. I'm talking about MVP coming out strong with their one-trick pony, Amanda Serrano. Because here's my first question for you, Steve. Has that ship sailed for MVP already? Because there was a lot banking on Holly Holm winning last night. That didn't happen. There's a lot banking on Amanda Serrano. I mean, she performed well. She performed absolutely fine against a female who came in on 2 weeks' notice, who brought the fight 100%. Reina Tellez brought the fight. But this leads me to the question. Because there's so much invested in Amanda Serrano and MVP, is it too much? Is that going to be the downfall for MVP? What do you think? And hi.
Yeah. Hi. Hello. Yes, it is. It is a one-trick pony. You're right. And he is desperately, he's desperately saying, I've got a Dubois now. I've got Holly Holm now. But as we said before, it's not the main liners in women's boxing. It's the sort of gap between when they're at the top and then we're going way down before we get those people that you only just know about. So I don't think that Amanda Serrano will be able to. I think it's about her carrying the whole thing on her shoulders, and that's a problem. Now, Reina Tellez took that fight on 2 weeks' notice, but let's also remember Amanda Serrano only had 2 weeks to cater for Reina Tellez, who brought, as you say, that fight to her and tried to dirty it up and managed it. And I always like to look at the comments because I look at the thing on DAZN. I watched it on DAZN because I have a subscription, of course, as you know. And I also like to look at it on YouTube to see what the comments are. And the comments were, holds her hands down. Is that all she's got? Didn't look good against someone who came in at 2 weeks' notice. I mean, I'm not saying that's a massive issue because, as I say, both parties are going to have issues. Well, Tellez has got nothing to lose. Right. She needs to be the agitator, and she is, and she was. But Amanda Serrano's got a lot to lose. She didn't look great. She looked good enough. She was flashy, not in a bad way, but flashy enough to get the. I mean, the cards were wider than they should have been.
But if it's good enough, is that good enough to carry a promotion? Because there's a lot. If you look, and there's levels even to the production end. You know what I mean? Between like the Jake Paul and what they did with Netflix, those fights, and that's an MVP promotion. But this was all MVP on DAZN. There is a clear and drastic level difference with what they're putting on. Is MVP, in my opinion, are they any higher to you than Boxer on BBC?
Yes, just because of the transatlantic thing. But in 6 months' time, if Boxer continue to do what they're doing on the BBC, which is their main events have been superb, folks. And that's lightning in a bottle, and you can't really predict it. But if they carry on having that look, then they will be as big as MVP. MVP are big because Ben Shalom is not a boxer promoter called Jake Paul. That's the reason why MVP are big, and also they have that kind of USP, MVP, USP, which is that they got the women's boxing. But Amanda Serrano, he's putting everything on her, and it's not good for her to have that pressure.
I feel like this almost has shades of Don King.
Tell me why, Tidster, go on.
And it was something that Jake Paul did that made me go, this feels like a Don King moment to me. And it was when he's standing in the corner waving the flag waving Amanda Serrano's flag. And it just brought me back to Don King with the two American flags doing his thing, you know, and I mean, then I don't know, maybe you take into consideration all of the unfortunate accidents and mishaps that have happened to people that have fought Jake Paul after they fought him. I don't know. Maybe there is a bigger Don King tie in here in all of this. He's not the greatest promoter, but he's the loudest mouth in the room. I mean, there's a lot of ties between Jake Paul and Don King. I'm just saying, Steve.
I mean, if we continue like this, you'll be talking about the one bullet theory for JFK, and you'll also be talking about Bigfoot existing, which of course he does. But I mean, it's just bad luck, isn't it? But there is that kind of the thing with Jake Paul is that there is that sort of I am the only one. Now, even with someone like Eddie Hearn or agitational Oscar De La Hoya, as he should now be called, his 12 Days of Christmas, folks. Oh my God, extraordinary. But they have a kind of easy, well, let's play with other people kind of role and feel. The thing with Jake Paul is always, I'm going to beat you down, you mother. I'm going to beat you down. You know, in negotiation, in the ring, it is me. And that ties in with the Don King Big Fish thing. But not as much as you would like it to.
I mean, at the end of the day, all of Jake's money is really coming from Pepsi anyways, isn't it?
What?
Aren't they the owners of Celsius?
It's coming from wonderful viewers like me and you. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's a democratic situation. That's what it is.
It's wild. And outside of that, I think that the MVP cards aren't that bad. They're not that bad. I mean, one thing that you saw happen recently, another thing with MVP, I don't know if you saw this or not, Jake Paul's been removed and he's mad. He's been removed from the rankings already. I mean, God dang it, he gets knocked out one time by an Olympic champion and a two-time heavyweight champion, and you just remove. He was number 14 in the world, Steve, in the entire world, and you just remove him like that. I mean, this just goes to show you how bullshit the ranking system really is, isn't it?
Well, you know about removing him from that ranking. It was WBA, wasn't it? Removing him from the rankings. This is the same as removing a glass of whiskey from someone's hand when they're about to drive home, because there is no way he should be working his way to the top of that. Because we said last time out on the Bees of Boxing, your number 5 man, if you're looking at pound for pound on ring rankings, is Ryan Rozicki, who will beat the hell out of him, and the number 1 man is Jai Opetaia, who not only broke opponents' jaws, he breaks their necks as well. Now, I don't know whether Jake Paul will be able to come back from the injury he's got. It's a difficult injury. But one thing he will have to do now, certainly for that sanctioning body, is to work his way back up. Now, I don't think that gentleman has the stomach to do that, and it will stop him looking for legitimate belts.
But here's the thing: is he? I mean, he's chasing a brass ring. There's no doubt about it. But is it like, you know, because I don't know if you guys had them over in England. We had like these old carousels that when I was a kid that you would go to, and they had this big chute that had like these rings, right? And you'd lean out and you'd try to hook this ring as it would come out of this thing with your finger, and then you'd come along and you'd toss it into like a clown's mouth or something like that the next time around and try to grab another ring. And there was a gold ring in there that got you a free ride. Woo! A free ride on the thing that just went around in circles and make you sick. Like, it was wild stuff, right?
Can I just say, hang on, before you carry on, can I just say, that's not very good on a health and safety basis. And I don't want to hear you talking about tossing into a clown's mouth.
Well, it was the 70s. I mean, who didn't do both of those things?
Oh, fair enough. Okay,
You know who Andy Warhol was.
yeah.
Anyways,
A trip to the circus was just great in those days.
absolutely. but here's my point to that. Do you think that this is what Jake Paul is really doing? Is he just keeps going around and around until he can get his finger into that brass ring, right? Pause. Or is the smart money, because this has always been my thing, and I want to ask you this, Steve. Do belts even matter in boxing? Is this the new era that we're about to jump into, where belts just don't mean anything? Because as a governing body, you're just taking money from me anyways. And now I've got this new thing, Zuffa, where they just want to put on shows and do their own thing. And can I just go make money and have good fights, have fun fights that make me a lot of money without a belt?
A yay to both of those. You're quite right, and very smart, may I say so, Mr. Tidster. I think that he has certainly seen Deontay Wilder being picked like a competition winner by Alexander Usyk to say, I'll have to fight you. You could be champion. So, yeah, it could happen, particularly with those sanctioning bodies. But also, you're quite right about do belts matter. We're going to have a war this year. We're going to have a war, because what the sanctioning bodies have done is they've said, not taking this lying down, actually, Zuffa. We're going to show that we're more proactive. Plus, they've got Usyk in their corner, certainly the WBC has. And Billy Big Belts has said, actually, I want to fight for these belts. I've got 3 more fights in me, and I want to fight for these belts. He's creating a bulwark between himself and the belts, and Zuffa, no belts boxing.
And I mean, now you mentioned coming back and the governing bodies and doing all of that. And we heard the biggest news, right? We heard the biggest news. Your buddy is back again. Don't call it a comeback. I'm just not talking about his latest movie, maybe. Listen, Tyson Fury is back again. Did anybody ever really believe that he was gone in the first place? This is like, he retires like Kiss.
Yeah. He might create an avatar, a Tyson Fury avatar, but considering the video that he released the other day, you need a fucking load of pixels to get that one done.
I mean, he's been comfortable, and maybe he's just using the guys of coming back to boxing to, like, that's his motivation to get back into the gym. I don't know, but obviously things have been derailed a little bit, because we saw the news recently with Anthony Joshua and the unfortunate accident that happened. You hear crazy stuff now that he was actually on that side in the passenger seat and was asked to move because the driver couldn't see the mirror and the brakes weren't working. And it was just a fiasco of errors in the first place that, I hate to say it, Steve. I hate to say it, but these are sometimes the things that happen when you travel to a country that isn't well equipped enough, because they haven't been brought up to certain safety standards as other countries. And we look at them and we see the news story of these things happening, and it's like, well, they didn't have this and they didn't have that and they didn't have this and they didn't have that. A lot of times in these villages, in these countries that they go to, no, they don't have those things because they can't afford it. So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a good point you make, and it's a difficult point to make, and I'm glad you made it, because the driver will be charged on the 26th of this month, I think, something like that, and he will be charged with causing death by dangerous driving, or words to that effect, reckless driving, words to that effect, but also driving without a valid driving license. So, that's one of the things that makes you say, well, hang on, how's he picked? Did they know? What is the structure of all of this? And they need to do this quickly, do the authorities, because so that families can grieve, and quite right too, because, once that, they'll need that put to bed in that respect for them to be able to grieve properly, I believe. But also, they need to do it quickly because, well, we've got the possibility that we could be a big boxing area, but not if stuff like this happens.
Wow.
So they need to put this to bed quickly.
Well, I mean, they got, if they're going to try to bring boxing anywhere near that part of the world, they got to do better than they did a couple of weeks ago.
Mm.
There's no doubt about that. Here's the question that I have for you, though, coming out of that is if is AJ going to be able to fight again?
I mean,
do we know what injuries were sustained? Like, do we know, I mean, he was pulled out. He looked pretty banged up. He was obviously able to move and maneuver and you know what I mean? But do we know what the extent of all of this is? And furthermore, not even the physical, Steve, the mental. You literally just sat there and watched two of your best friends get sheared out of a vehicle by another vehicle. I know what it was like when I broke my leg and had two bones sticking out the front of my leg. I still get PTSD moments from something like that. And that is absolutely nothing in comparison to watching something like that. Without being in the military, this should never be something that somebody has to experience. Do you think he can come back from it?
I think I don't know, but I'm hedging my bets really, because what I've said on a previous podcast is he should be given the time to heal in all sorts of different ways. All we have is reports that he had pain all over his body, his knees in particular. There are no breaks. He's posted 2 pictures on social media today with his family, which is great. But not only were his 2 great friends killed, but they were part of his boxing setup. So when he comes back, then that's good. If he comes back, that's going to be there. There were already questions about, the kind of whether he's ready to go into the ring with someone like Tyson Fury after the Daniel Dubois situation. And let's skip the Jake Paul situation. That was never going to be a problem for him. But I'm not sure he will be able to, because of the trauma of all of that. And nor should he be pushed to do that. I've already seen, I think it was AI, and if it is, it's very irresponsible. Somebody doing a Tyson Fury, I think it might have been on YouTube or TikTok, saying, "I'll give you 10 months and then, we'll fight." That's not acceptable, any of that. But it does beg the question in the business of boxing, why is Tyson Fury coming back? Why? Because that's the fight he wanted. He's not going to get Usyk. Usyk will be a belt defender. He's already said that. So he's not going to get Usyk. Why is he coming back? Is he coming back to take a British tour with younger Brits? That would be great, but I don't think Tyson Fury wants to do that. So why bother?
Yeah, well, we called it. We said the only fight. We said this, and we continue to do this until somebody pays attention to the stupid people in the back. We said that the only reason Tyson Fury comes back is for that fight with Anthony Joshua. It's the only fight that makes sense for either one of them at this point. And they don't have to do it with any kind of governing body. Now, here's my question for you in doing so, because you've now got to deal with Eddie Hearn and the old man, Mr. Warren, with Queensbury, because that's Tyson's guy and AJ is that. You've got to deal with them doing this. The only money that's going to get involved with all of this is going to end up having to be Riyadh money. It's going to have to be from His Excellency to make this happen. Tyson Fury hasn't fought outside of Riyadh in a couple of years. At that point, is His Excellency going to want to put the investment into that, or is he going to be like, I have this other thing that's going on where you don't need a belt to fight and we could put you on Paramount. What do you think? Now you've got all 3 guys working with one another. That would make the governing bodies lose their absolute marbles. If you saw Queensbury, along with Eddie Hearn, along with Zuffa, trying to put together the biggest heavyweight fight in boxing history since Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield.
Yes, and we have said this time and time again. And as you say, we are the most prescient boxing podcast in the business at the moment. We have said that he'll have to work with promoters. We have an online MMA organization, social media ring, and saying that there will be this amount of UFC events, this amount of slap fights, power slap, and 16 Zuffa events. Right, that's 4 more than we thought. So what's that mean? It means this. So Turki Al-Sheikh needs something, because Alexander Usyk, by saying I'm Billy Big Belt and I'm fighting those belts and creating clear blue water, he's saying no longer Riyadh, now USA. So when you say when people say, oh, Ben Shalom's losing all those people from Boxer, well, Turki Al-Sheikh just lost one. He just lost one, and he's called Alexander Usyk. So he needs something, I believe, and it will be either Canelo and Terence, or, I mean, Terence has talked about MMA and the UFC very recently and said, oh, I really like it, So there is that. But also, this fight would be something very special for them, particularly if Zuffa boxing starts to wane with audiences.
Here's the thing, though, with Billy Big Belts and wanting to fight in the U.S., right? Instead of there, where's he going to fight? Are you going to spend that money and lose it in taxes if you fight at Madison Square Gardens, or are you going to fight in Vegas? If you fight in Vegas, I don't know if you're familiar with whose city that is. It happens to be Zuffa's kind of stomping grounds. So 2026 is going to get wild for boxing, for the business of boxing. It's going to get great. And I'm here for it, man.
Absolutely, because Alexander Usyk says, I don't care if it's your city, because I got all these belts. And, I'm legitimate. That's kind of what he's saying. You can be carny if you like. I'm not saying it is carny, Zuffa boxing, but he's kind of saying, I'm legitimate and belts mean something. And, your comments about, do belts mean anything? Yeah. While we've got Alexander Usyk there, they probably do. But this is going to be a war. And the sanctioning bodies and Usyk are really getting their guns prepared.
So here's my question then, because that's one for each side, right? You've got Terence Crawford on one side, and you've got Alexander Usyk on the other side, when we're talking about this argument with belts versus no belts or whatever, right? So then the other biggest names come into the play. Where do you see those teams lining up? Let me ask you this. Is Canelo a belts or no belts?
No belts, because he can't win belts.
Okay. Is Tyson Fury belts or no belts?
No belts, because he can't win belts. There's a pattern here.
Is Inoue belts or no belts?
Belts, because he can win belts and he wants America. That's what he wants. That's still the big apple. I'm not talking about New York. That is still the big fruit for the gentleman. And he wants to do that belt thing before he does anything else. Because what people tend to see, I think, Tidster, is that he's at the beginning of his career, really, not reached his prime yet. A bit like Deontay Wilder says, he's just reached his prime now. And he wants to see what he can do before he's won his belts, and now he can take that money. So I think he's belts.
Interesting. I think that there's a lot of guys out there that you're going to see that aren't going to give a shit about belts, because I think that they're fun characters and they'll get persuaded over to the other side, and they're going to have to happen before they're gone, before they're done with their career. I think that some of those guys include guys like, all right, here's a couple more for you. Rolly Romero, belts or no belts?
That's a tough one, because he's playing both sides, isn't he? And this feeds into the sanctioning bodies, because they have said, Mr. Romero, have that. You can't have Manny Pacquiao. You need to have Shakram Giyasov. It's Shakram, isn't it? Yeah. So Shakram Giyasov, Nonito Donaire, and Sullivan Sissoko have all had success after they said to sanctioning bodies, shouldn't I be the number one contender? Now, in the past, that's happened. In fact, for Sullivan Sissoko, it's been that way for ages. And generally, we'd be sitting here saying, and the sanctioning bodies just don't fucking care, folks. But they are getting proactive and saying, these are our fighters. You know what? This matters. Top 10 matters. And we'll do stuff here. This is a massive fight. Rolly Romero, both. I can't call it. He wants both.
Teofimo Lopez.
Belts.
Ryan Garcia.
Money. I think he wants a belt from Mario Barrios so he can push that into a money fight. Now, he can earn that money with Conor Benn. He beats Conor Benn in my view. He beats Barrios and he beats Ben. But I think that with Eddie Hearn's mouth and chat and all the success there, and that he's very good at it, I think there's a load of money involved. There's Bunsen burner, my friend Carl Freud would say. And I think that he'll take that money and then parlay it to kickstart his career again, because it needs a kickstart.
I think the three that we're obviously missing in all of this, we know that they're money side, and that's going to be Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. That fight's getting closer. We called this like what, 6-8 months ago, right? It's getting a lot closer to happening.
That was all you. That was all you, Tidster. I have to say, you were the one that said it, and I think it's great because, as I've said before, it cuts out. It shuts the door on Mike Tyson fighting Mayweather, and that would be just a terrible fight. Yeah. So I don't want to see it, but it could take place on Zuffa. But you've got Money Mayweather there. That's a problem.
Yeah, he may want that Netflix money. Right? And he may need that Netflix money. I got one more name for you before we go out of here, because this is the one that we've always been overlooking. And with his recent, departure from boxing, but back to boxing, but not boxing, Gervonta Davis.
I don't think he really wants boxing anymore. I mean, he's being called out by people. He's saying, I might want. I don't think he wants either. I don't think he can bring himself even. I think he's not interested in the discipline of getting ready for a belt, for a fight for a belt. I don't think he's interested in that now. But I also think he looks at the hoopla with Jake Paul and thinks, what the fuck am I doing? And I think he'll be doing that if he's fighting for the Zuffa brand as well. So I think he probably doesn't fight. I don't think he fights for either. I think he's done.
Really? Well, there it is. No more Gervonta Davis in 2026. Steve Swift says so. Apparently discipline is an issue. I think that there's court papers that say otherwise.
I'm not commenting on that at all. You always do this, you swine. Well, I'm not commenting on that at all.
Well, I mean, listen. If there's one thing that we've learned here at the Bees of Boxing, is that it's an always evolving process. It's like a plant. It's like a plant that grows, right? But rooted in truth is always going to be this.
Come to the children. Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
I mean, ODB said it best, Steve. Wu-Tang is for the children. They teach the children.
It'll always be for the children.
It'll always be for the children. Absolutely. Steve, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Over at World Weary Guy 1, what do we got?
Well, I'm doing a series of albums that I saw an article. It said these albums will be 40 years old next year, and I thought, oh, fair. Because I remember them when they came out. So I've done Motorhead's Orgasmatron. I'm about to do Boston's Third Stage. I'm going to do Huey Lewis and the News 4. I mean, pity me. And I'm going to do Alice Cooper's Constrictor. So there's quite a lot of those. Plus, I've just heard the new album from Federation of the Disco Pimps, which is just amazing. And I've just reviewed John Travolta's new movie, High Rollers. Do I like it? Look at my face. So there.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get all of the best, you know what? We're just going to leave and let the people know this right here. Steve, always a pleasure. Absolutely adore you. All the best in 2026. To all of you out there that are listening to this on all of your podcast providers, thank you so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry you had to look at our faces. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you can also do that too. You can just put it on the background, add it to your playlist. It's already on a playlist. If you want to check out more of this boxing stuff, if you want to go back and see how prolific we actually are on picking all of this stuff, and actually, you know what? Damn it, we're smart, Steve. We're smart. I mean, we're not good looking, and we ain't never going to be rich. So we might as well be smart. On that note, if you haven't seen, thank you very much. And go check this out. Peace. Tuck your chin.
Wrestling, rock, pop, books, films, TV, boxing. All of this is covered on Steve Swift's Rambling Reviews. I am he, Steve Swift, a UK guy. What you get is all of that. And a funny voice and even a funnier face. See? Steve Swift's Rambling Reviews. Come to me. I've got a review. Just for you. Ta-ta.